you can't grow up in Israel without hearing about India. It's part of the Israeli society. Every fifth soldier who's finishing combat is now going to India for 5 months. When my sister came back from there, she couldn't stop. She couldn't stop trying to convince me to go there. You have to go, you have to go, you have to go. The Indian culture has such a unique way of being present. The Indian culture, these gurus, these yoga people, they treat you as an equal. Even if the war ends in the calendar, for a lot of soldiers, the war is still going inside. What keeps you alive in combat is what drains you, like slows you down. And I don't want to go into a coffee place and to scan it like I'm RoboCop. I don't want to scan a train booth and to see where's the best for me to sit, close it. I don't want to be that. But for a lot of guys, every ambulance, siren, plane, car that honks close to them, you're always alert. A lot of combat soldiers are coming back from the second Lebanon war. A lot of them are coming back physically full, but something is broken. A lot of them are being fired. A lot of them are being addicted to things. A lot of them are writing in different surveys that they're not sleeping well, that there are violent episodes. These are good people from good families with careers. There was one guy near me who was on his fourth cigarette in less than an hour, and when I went out with him, you see they're in a whole different mindset.
This IDF soldier has been an advisor to the Israeli parliament and is deeply moved by Indian spirituality. Namaskar, shalom and welcome. My name is Ravital Moses, aka Moses in Israel, your favorite Indian Jew, born and raised in India and now living in Israel. And my goal is to bridge India and Israel one video at a time. And today we have Yehuda Lapian. Did I say it right?
Yes.
Who is a dedicated IDF combat veteran who served over 179 days on the front lines in Gaza and Lebanon during the ongoing war. He is a former Knesset advisor strengthening Israel-U.S. relations. He is also serving as a community manager for the Peace of Mind program supporting IDF veterans' mental health and civilian transition. Yehuda is also an ice swimmer, a proud Israeli, and inspires others by sharing stories of resilience, faith, and brotherhood. The one and only Yehuda Lapian, welcome to Moses in Israel. How are you feeling?
I'm good. Shalom. Namaskar. Namaskar. Thank you for having me.
Wow, we have been speaking for a while.
Correct.
And we made it happen.
Here, Jerusalem, the holy city.
I know. So blessed. But
Yeah.
You also told me in a few weeks you're going to be going back to reserve duty.
After the Passover, yeah.
How are you feeling about that?
Mixed.
Okay.
I'm always proud and feel honored.
Okay.
To be our part of such a unique and brave group of people. The IDF soldiers, my unit, my battalion.
Which battalion do you belong to?
A tank battalion.
Okay.
And the reason I'm saying mixed is because honesty to the conversation and to what you bring to your audience and in general, I can't just say that it's amazing and I feel privileged and happy. It's also tough and tiring, and it's been a long time and a long war, and it's been a while. It takes a long time to go back to the everyday routine. And the way things are moving now, it's like every few months to go back in, it's just difficult. So it's mixed.
I have to say, I can only imagine. Unfortunately or fortunately, I can't tell. I never really had the chance to serve in the IDF because when I made Aliyah, I was 25 and the IDF said, you're too old. And I'm like, fine. So I never had the chance to do it, but I always consider maybe voluntarily, maybe I can give my time in some way, but we'll see when that happens.
There are many ways to contribute to Israeli society.
Okay.
And to the Jewish people in general.
Mm-hmm.
Not everything is through the IDF. And I think even sharing the truth to the world and giving people a voice, I think there's much to do. And I think you're doing great work for the Jewish people and in Israel. So this is like your army service.
Fine, I'll take it. All right. This episode is going to be a little bit different because the IDF soldiers or reservists that I have interviewed in the previous episodes, we spoke about their active duty and, the other elements on the battlefield. Today, we are specifically going to focus on what do you do or what a soldier does to get back to his civilian life, because it's not easy, especially after war, and how it affects mental health. So my first question to you is, what is the most common mental health challenges an IDF soldier goes through?
So first of all, even if the war ends in the calendar, for a lot of soldiers, the war is still going inside. The amount of days and intensity. Going back home, taking off the uniform is one thing, but then going back to civilian life every day, going to work, sending in emails, your kids, washing the dishes, house day chores, or if you're single, going back to your apartment. I think there are technical stuff like sleep problems, anxiety, hypervigilance.
Hypervigilant because you're constantly aware.
Yeah. So to answer your question personally, for me, is I know now that when I go to the movies, I'll have to sit near the exit seat. And I don't want anyone to sit near me, even if I'm going with someone. So on the other side, I'll even buy the ticket. I don't want someone to sit near me now for an hour and a half. If I'm taking the train now from Jerusalem to Tel Aviv or vice versa, which I do twice a week, I prefer standing, or I'll make sure I'm in the last or first, the caron, the train.
Where a lot of people don't sit, it's just a standing space.
Yeah, but either the beginning of the train or the end of the train.
I see. The first or the last compartment.
Compartment, thank you.
I'm trying to dig deeper. Why is that? Why do you feel the necessity of booking a theater ticket without somebody sitting next to you, or just sitting in these last two compartments?
Because I need my space.
Physically?
Yeah, I just don't want you to come close to me if I don't know you well. And also, another thing is, it's not just the physical space.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be free. We talked about the hypervent. I feel that sometimes I'll go into a party or into a bar to a coffee. So when I'm meeting someone at a coffee place at 12, I'm there 11:50. I try never to be late because of my German grandmother, Alea Shalom. But I'm first searching the coffee. Where's the exit? Where's the space that is far from everyone? What if something happens now in the coffee place? How do I react first or fast? And honestly, Revital, I sleep well at night. I'm not here to say or to announce to the world I'm post-traumatic. My combat situations during the war was a bit easier than the other guys. I went through hard things during the war, but it doesn't come close to the young soldiers or to some of the veterans who were literally there 24 hours, fighting daily, building after building. I can't imagine. I know because of my field of work, but in the end, I can't imagine what it feels here. If I'm feeling this a bit and it's controlled, I think for them, it's 10 times stronger. So I want my space. I want I want to be left alone. I know for a fact that I've been told by my boss or from different people or in Shabbat meals, dinners in Tel Aviv, that I'm just less friendly. And it's not that I'm depressed or sad.
You just want your space. You're a little more reserved, and eventually, maybe some time, if you feel like you want to go interact.
Dr. Danny Brom, who started the psychiatric center called Meitiv in Israel, and Peace of Mind started in Meitiv. Danny started this 14 years ago.
Before we get into that, would you like to tell our audiences what is Peace of Mind? Because I know a lot of the organizations, especially after the war, have been focusing a lot of its finances, resources, and energy towards IDF soldiers who are battling or struggling inside to get back to civilian life. So would you be able to
Sure.
highlight that?
Absolutely. So Dr. Bani Bohm, who I hope will win the Israeli prize, when it wasn't cool or sexy or common, he was brave enough to start something very special and controversial in those days called Peace of Mind. Peace of Mind, Dani felt that a lot of combat soldiers are coming back from the Second Lebanon War. A lot of them are coming back physically full, but something is broken. A lot of them are being fired. A lot of them are being addicted to things. A lot of them are writing in different surveys that they're not sleeping well, that there are violent episodes. These are good people from good families with careers, and they were talking about moral injuries, anxieties, and that this was not talking about before. And when Peace of Mind started, I know from some of the alumni, even a few people I know, the way they react, because in Israel, like, we live in a very machoistic environment. I think Israelis are more gentle and soft than butter. But at the outside, we try to show the world and sometimes to ourselves that we're all small Supermans.
I think that's one reason. A cultural reference I would like to give my Indian audiences, they call us Sabraz or Sabar, especially Israelis are born and raised here. Sabar means cactus, right? So like hardcore, probably like itchy a little bit on the outside, but inside the soft, mushy.
Yeah.
So that explains what most Israelis are.
So, correct. And he started this program where eventually we have almost 4,000 alumni. The model is a unit that grew up together, fought together, went through war together, went through horrible things together, are now rebuilding themselves together. They will meet the beginning of the journey. They will meet for a day. From Thursday afternoon to Friday morning, they'll meet with 2 therapists in Israel, where they'll be introduced to the model, to the project. They're going to stay the night in like one of these nice places. A month and a half afterwards, they will fly to usually a Jewish community in America, also England and Canada, but mostly America.
Okay.
Where 13 host families will host every 2 soldiers. So the 2 soldiers are staying in the community, in the houses. They'll wake up in the morning, 9 to 5 is usually group therapy time with the 2 therapists. It's very intense. It's very serious. It's not easy for a lot of the guys. In the evening, they'll do fun stuff like an NBA game, barbecue. It's a beautiful, beautiful journey. Very tough. 40 to 45 hours of therapy. And I think Peace of Mind should be and needs to be more known and more supported. And it's been a pleasure and an honor to work there for 3 years.
I'm excited to learn more about this. I'm going to try and get into the details of this. How long is the program? And when you say therapy, is it just talking therapy or is it art therapy? Different types of therapy, just curious.
It's a 9-month journey where I said they meet in an opening workshop.
Okay.
Then a month and a half afterwards, they'll fly to the community. And then a month and a half or 2 months later, they'll do a closing workshop. So it's a 6 months intense journey in a 9-month progress since they start registering.
Got it.
Some therapies use art, a song, more movement, but the essence is to sit in a circle in a private place, usually the shul, the JCC, they have their private room. No one can join, and we have really good therapists, and they talk, they focus a bit about the past, a bit about the present, and a lot about the future. Each individual in the group has an hour to talk about where he is in life. Some of them won't even talk about combat. And then Shabbat, they'll do Shabbat with the community. And I have to say that I've been there a few times. And one of the holiest moments of my life is to see 20 combat soldiers in different ages and different religious backgrounds standing in front of 400, 500, 600 congregation, Deal, New Jersey, Manhattan, Miami, all these places I've been to, singing Meisha Berach for the for the soldiers and doing a mishaberach for the state of Israel in front of hundreds of Jewish Americans singing together, I can honestly say it is a holy moment. For some of these guys, they've never been to shul. It's a beautiful Jewish and Israeli moment. And unfortunately, we have work for the next 30 years. Now we have a whole different ballgame, a new monster in the room.
Yes.
Is the young guys who served during October 7th.
I was
They were
actually
19, not 30, not 35.
Mm.
They're not married. They don't have careers. They're going back from this war. They're 21. What do we do with a group of 21 years olds who've just went through such an intense... When you have a group of 30 years old, 35 years old, 39 years old, 28, there's a maturity, you know?
I was going to say, there's maturity. They're more, I think, emotionally more aware compared to 19 and 21-year-olds, right? Because in my 20s, I was like, I don't even know what I want to do, right? If you compare to children in other countries, I think we're a little more privileged because we're like planning to go to college or do a job. I mean, it seems normal, but for an Israeli child, it's just, this is his normal at the moment. Another question I wanted to ask you is, you're saying the 19 and the age range of 19 to 21 have the hardest time, is what you're saying? Or are there any, I was going to ask, because you're the community manager, I'm assuming that you have,
Not anymore.
Not anymore. We'll talk about that in a minute. But as you were serving as a community manager, I'm sure that you were interacting with so many reservists, right? Or people who came out of IDF. I'm trying to understand the personality of the person who has the hardest time making the change. Is it a young boy? Is it a father? Is it a newly married? Is it an older mid-aged man? Is it like father with young kids, father with teenage kids? I'm just trying to understand who has the hardest time to transition.
That is a very interesting question. I'm not a therapist. Honestly, the main answer to your question, again, not as a therapist, it's not a specific individual in a group. I just see that the younger guys, they're just, Vital there, I met them in Italy. We took one group to a kosher hotel in Italy. Shout out to my kosher hotel for doing such a beautiful job and for hosting these guys. But meeting them in the airport, as opposed to meeting other groups, they were hyper. They were angry. They didn't have the tools to say. They went out 6 times for a cigarette break, and I smoke. My grandmother smoked until she was 97, 1 cigarette a day, and she passed away when she was 101. My mother smokes at the end of the day in the porch. It's like having a shot of whiskey. I enjoy a nice cigarette here and there. It's not.
I think it's also very European, because in India it's seen as like, what are you doing?
Right. But these guys, it's 11 o'clock a.m. They just got to the airport. There was one guy near me who was on his 4th cigarette in less than an hour. And when I went out with him, you see they're in a whole different mindset of and to see them in the hotel day after day, relaxing a bit more, moving a bit slower. The first day in the pool, they went to the pool. I have videos. They're fighting each other on the water, playing soccer with a ball, kicking the ball, almost breaking the lights, yelling, staying up till 2 a.m. By the 4th, 5th day, you see they're already sitting in the pool and using all the long benches and just sitting and chilling. And something about the therapists, Ben and Hillel, who specifically were their therapists and are doing holy work. You see what happens to men when they are able to say, "Kasheli, it's hard for me." I think the vulnerability, the ability of a man to understand in an adult period of life. Because when you're 16, you're like, I'm Superman. But when you're 26 or 36 or 46 or whatever, I think one of the precious things in life is to say, I need help. So we all need help sometimes from our friends, from our family, from our spiritual aspect. We need help, and it's okay to sit in front of your best friends and to say, hey, I'm not sleeping well at night, or things are not going well for me, or I raised my voice on my wife. Before the war, I never did it, and now I'm doing it daily. And to say it and to
out loud.
Yeah.
It's like, I think I also like are able to process while they're speaking. I think in general, it's just tougher for men to accept that they need help because men are taught to be strong
Correct.
internally and externally. And if you admit that you need help, you might be seen as weak or somebody you can't rely on. Unfortunately, that's not the case. I think accepting and showing vulnerability is a sign of strength as well. I think that's what the world needs to understand. And I can see the change, but I think we're still stuck in that mindset as a community.
Correct. And what happens in Peace of Mind is that, and this I know from guys who participated, the first guy opens up. Some of them say that they thought they knew everything about their guys. Some of them know each other for 20 years, 15 years. They've been to their weddings, their bar mitzvahs, their funerals. They know everything. They spent hours together. Suddenly you say, I found out that the person who's sitting to me, near me, or one of my best band of brother or whatever, he has a whole world of or pain or happiness or something. But imagine sitting in a group like that, and by the fourth day, everyone just shared their most deepest feelings and fears, and what it releases from the room when there's also so much cynical and toughness environment. It releases, and these are not just their brothers for lives. These are the people when I came out from the war, the only people I wanted to see were the guys from my unit. So for them to be in a room where they could now also be vulnerable with the people they went through what they went through is a huge thing. And to understand that they're not soft or weak, and they come back, what they saw. What we've been through. People think that if you go on these retreats or these fun weekends, a lot of NGOs are focusing on fun, and I understand that. I think it's nice, but I don't think it's what really brings change. But I don't see it as a, now I could go back to who I am. I'm not who I am.
I don't think you can ever be who you were. You're just probably a new version.
I feel that for many people, and also for myself, in a certain way, 50% of who I am has reborn, and I have to learn how to walk in a world after this war, for better and worse. There are things that I've gained from this war that I will carry forever, that will, when I'm walking, running, swimming in the train, that will bring pain and tears to my eyes and a heavy feeling. But there are things that I got from the war that gave me strength, focus, being fearless in front of the world and their lies. I don't think, and this I say almost every time, I don't think I'll ever have the opportunity to do something as meaningful like serving in the IDF together with the bravest people I ever met. There's not a day that goes by that I don't think about the brave young men I fought with, those who I met before going into Gaza for 5 minutes, having a cigarette with them, davening Kabbalat Shabbat, who didn't have the opportunity to come back alive and to live in a world without evil in this world. And there's a promise I made to the people who did survive, that I will fight for the truth and I will fight for their health. I work for this organization, so I think someone up there wanted this to, and my grandparents didn't have the opportunity in Auschwitz to protect themselves. And I think what the world is doing to us, the intellectuals, the betray, is worse than what the Hamas did to us in October 7th. But I couldn't be more prouder of my Jewish roots, of my country, and my army. And I'll go in whenever they need me, wherever they need me.
I think I'm very like touched, but also very fascinated with, especially, and I see glimpses also in the Indian soldiers. They're like very nationalistic, just call us and we'll be there. Yeah, because we have to stand for ourselves. Nobody else will.
And there's evil in the world, and we have to start calling it what it is and what it wants.
And hopefully, just like I keep forgetting the name of the movie, Assemble. Avengers? Assemble? We need allies, and we'll talk about it in a few minutes. But
Correct.
you pointed out a very interesting point that I want to talk about is we have about 30 to maybe 100 years of work to be done for our IDF reservists who are getting back to civilian life. What do you think are the gaps in Israel currently? We as a community, we as let's say the society, the government, the private sector, allies aren't touching upon. As somebody who has been, I mean, you are an IDF reservist, but you're also working with soldiers, right, actively. What do you see is missing?
Most of the help that the soldiers are getting are from different NGOs, private NGOs, Israelis, Americans, donors, all these retreats, these trips. Most of them are from initiatives from the ground, from the people. What the government does is they'll write a check. They'll make sure that we get a bonus, which is, if you're an independent, it's a ridiculous bonus. I mean, it helps, but they're good in writing checks. You know, sometimes money is not the solution. You know, you have to. I did see one initiative that was the first time I said, okay, someone is moving something where groups of soldiers who are flying together in the airport could go through a faster check-in in the beginning. To avoid being with all the, you know, the
crowd.
Yeah, especially in Israel, which we know.
Yeah.
People could be a bit loud sometimes, but it's just a way for them to show gratitude where like you could skip this but we need so much more of that. And there's so many in public transportation, in school, students who are at reserves.
Actually, let's talk about a few examples you think we could like bring some change about. Also, as a society, I'm sure people who are listening to this episode, you might spark some ideas in them and they might come forward and, you know.
I think public transportation is a big deal because I think, you know, we want to live in a society where if an older man or woman comes up to a bus, you automatically stand up and give it to them. But when I grew up, the first two seats were like there was a sticker that you have to get up to the elderly.
Yeah, elderly or maybe somebody who's pregnant.
Right. So I think that there are, in different situations, waiting on, like if you ask 90% of the reserves soldiers, they'll tell you they don't want anything.
Is it because they don't know they need it? Because they genuinely feel like we're probably not going to get it?
No, because they don't go and risk their lives for 300 days because they'll get a prize after that or help. They're doing it because they grew up in the right family and because they believe in the right cause and they're good people. I think organizations like Peace of Mind and there are a few other shouldn't be even asking donors for money. The government should be asking them, what do you need? Instead of giving money during war to, you know, again, this is very nuanced, but the whole religious thing in Israel is very tense now. Who's getting money, when, what? I don't think there's anyone in the government now who's saying, what do the soldiers need? They just had a 3-year war, and we're still sending them zimunim, sapina, not sapina, like we're still calling them for 80 days, 90 days. My unit just got another call for 82 days. And for me, Revital, it's easier because I'm flying I have my work, so the adult people in the unit could go back home more. But for the hardcore combat soldiers in the unit, 82 days now, it's crazy. And a lot of us feel that the government, they're not doing a good job. They're focusing on the fact that there's elections in a year and they're taking care of their base and not saying, what do these soldiers, what do their brave wives who just went through a crazy 2 years, mothers of young kids, or not even, who their husband just went to war for 2.5 years. What about the mothers? You know, some of them got their husbands not in the best way. They have 4, 5, 6 kids, 2 or young babies.
They've turned to take care of them.
Are you sending them to a hotel, giving them a 5,000 shekel voucher to send them to a hotel for 2 days? Again, it's nice, but it's they're not serious about it. They're not genuine about it. They're doing things that look good in a headline paper. They're not helping the NGOs enough. They're not asking the soldiers what they need. Yeah, a lot of them should be ashamed of how they treated, because a nation or a government that doesn't know to fight for the people who just fought for them will always be on the losing side.
Do you think, and I'm sure, and this is probably coming from a place of ignorance or probably haven't read enough, because I feel like I miss out on a lot because my Hebrew isn't the best. So I don't know if the English papers and news websites or whatever cover the same as the Hebrew ones. But do you think there are active efforts made towards talking to the government, saying, this is our plan. Do you think you can help us? Because this is what our people need. Because if this keeps going on, we might not be able to sustain over time.
What is happening is that more and more reserves from the ground who finished their duty are now starting to be much more involved politically. So El Adegel or Tkuma or different individuals are starting, or Lieberman or Bennett, if that means anything to you. So they're focusing now much more about how they're going to help the soldiers on the long term. And some people have a tendency to believe them. I believe a few of them, but they understand that there's a need for it, and that the people of Israel, most of them, want to see how are you going to take care of these guys.
Well, thank you for sharing that, because I think a lot of people needed to hear that. I believe, also coming from India, I think all countries have their own issues internally. But I think as long as the community and the government are actively striving to fix it and move forward, I think there is headway. But if people are going to work in their own favor, it probably might not. Coming to the healing journey again, what are some of the habits that are very difficult to unlearn for an IDF reservist? Can you give us a few examples?
Yeah, I think the main one, and this is actually easy. We talked about vigilance. ערנות יתר בעברית. It's in Hebrew. What does it literally mean? Over awareness? Does that make any sense?
Like hyper aware. I don't know, but I understand what you mean, and I'm sure the audiences also know. You're constantly alert. Is like in terms of sound, visual, feeling. Right. You can feel everything.
Yeah. So that is a skill that in combat saves you, but in real life it exhausts you.
I see.
What keeps you alive in combat is what drains you, slows you down. I don't want to go into a coffee place and to scan it like I'm RoboCop. I don't want to scan a train booth and to see where's the best for me to sit, close it. I don't want to be that. And like I said, I'm pretty good. Sleeping wise, I'm good. But I think for a lot of guys, every ambulance, siren, plane, car that honks close to them, you're always alert, and that could be exhausting.
I can only imagine, because you're using so much brain energy. So I think by afternoon you're probably I'm done.
Yeah,
I don't have the power. Okay, coming to giving support to an IDF reservist, how can people like us from the society, family and friends, can support you and our brothers?
So I think there are two answers. One is very simple and very emotional, and it's the ability to say to your partner, your spouse, your brother, I see you. אני רואה אותך. With some people could do it with actions, and some people, I think it's important for them to actually say it
out loud so they hear it.
Yeah. If someone's coming back after 80 days now or 50 days and he wants to sit in his room and watch Netflix for 3 days, and then he knows that afterwards he'll start registering to his second semester, or I don't know, a lot of these people know what they need. They know what they want. I think the combination of letting someone be, but also saying, I have my eyes on you, I'm here and I see you. And whatever that means, whatever you need. No special kochaviyot, asterisks. I don't know if that's fully, all in.
Okay, got it. No kilo.
Yeah.
Exceptions.
Yeah. At work, especially, people at work have a tendency to say now that the environment in the country is different. From the beginning is like, come whenever you want, whenever you need. But if you have someone who's been working with you and for you for a few years, and you know him, and he's still being called back, and in the beginning you used to call him a hero and give him a gift and sending him messages, and now it's like you're giving him a harder time. You should be ashamed of yourself, and I know that's happening sometimes. But B, find it in you to show 100% support.
Sababa.
The second answer is try to not convince, but if there are retreats you see, if there are organizations like Peace of Mind, if there are things that you feel that your brother, your spouse, your friend, your boyfriend, your ex, whatever, this could do good for him, send it to him. Talk to him about it. Talk to the unit about it. There are units who came to a journey in Peace of Mind because a mother of an individual in that group saw a video or heard from a different mother who her son participated a year ago, and she pushed. And sometimes the people who are close for you know best. And when it's in the right way, more soldiers understand they need something. So be aware. Look out for different opportunities. Speak to the more responsible guys in the unit. Tell them to register to different journeys. Only good could come out of it.
Bezrat Hashem.
Bezrat Hashem.
If you are interested in getting involved with the Peace of Mind program or as an organization, I'm going to add their link to the description if you want to help them financially, or if you're in America and want to host as a family one of these soldiers, or if you have some other techniques that could help these soldiers, please get in touch with them. And I'm hoping that in the future they could bring these soldiers to India.
First of all, thank you. And I think Peace of Mind in the end of the day, and we'll conclude about Peace of Mind with this, but I think that Peace of Mind is a bridge. I think it's a bridge to a soldier's soul, to who he is and what he needs. I think it's it's a bridge for a lot of the soldiers to understand being in America, what it means to be a Jew. I think it's a bridge between hardcore Israelis to hardcore Americans who for a week have 8 days of spending time together. And I think it's a bridge of an NGO and many others to fix a bit more a broken heart. And we have a lot of work to do. So any help, if it's volunteering or finance or helping our website, or there's so much stuff to do. And we're taking these 200 soldiers to this Jewish camp in June. And hopefully, Bezrat Hashem, we could also help their wives or their girlfriends. There's a lot of work to do. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak about Peace of Mind. I wish I wouldn't have to work in a place like Peace of Mind. But as long as I'm there, I'll dedicate my life to it and do my best.
I absolutely love your dedication and your focus, which brings me to a very interesting hobby of yours. I don't know if it's a hobby or it's your obsession. You are an ice swimmer.
Right.
I honestly didn't know it was a sport till I actually Googled it. I'm like, what does ice swimming mean? And Google said, you basically swim in ice water-ish, which is about 5 degrees Celsius, and you only wear a silicone cap, goggles, and a swimsuit. Is that right?
Correct.
Tell me more.
I could show you some pictures now. There's a group actually now in Austria, and they're literally in the water while it's snowing. I always had a interesting relationship with the winter. Everyone, when you used to go out to a bar at night in Jerusalem, so everyone has a scarf, a sweater, a coat. I remember being with a coat, like I'm good. Or just sometimes going to school in the winter with a shirt. Something about the cold I always loved and challenged me. Just before my first round finishing in Gaza, which was 179 days or something like that, I saw an advertisement about an Israeli guy, a CEO of like a serious company, an ex-Shayetet Navy SEALs, the Israeli Navy SEALs, who has went on 2-3 delegations like to swim in ice lakes in Europe, something crazy. And now that there's a competition even with countries representing countries, and I saw the pictures and I texted him and I just said, I'm in. Even though I was very nervous, and I also think financial was a big. And then he just said to me, "F it, Shai Bullstein, Bernstein," and he just pushed and pushed, and I came, and I have to say, touching with my toes, the lake. The first time was in Hungary. The sand was full of snow from the night before. When you're,
The breath that comes
how
out.
is it called? There's a word for it.
I don't know what it's called.
We're in coats. It's -2 outside. He had to take a small hammer and break
The surface?
Yeah, because it was a very thin layer of ice. So we had to, and we're going in to swim, and I'm looking at him, and he's in a bathing suit, and I see him also. The moment he's in Shai, the whole body reacts in such a crazy way. But what's interesting, and I think many people in India could relate to this, is what happens when you go into extreme situations, or not even extreme, the life, the routine. What happens when you say, just do it slowly, breathe, there's so much depth of going in, just tinshom amok, breathe slowly.
So you slide into it.
Yeah. And I remember when my toes hit the water for the first time, and I'm like, oh my God, this is pain that I've never felt. But Shai's daughter is already swimming for 2 minutes.
Oh my
She's
God.
16. I have Ori, the other guy. I have 2 older guys from England who are on vacation, who are also just came out and like, good morning. And I'm like, wait a second, if they could do it, I could do it. And I came here for this, but your body is saying to you, your brain is shouting to you, what the fuck are you doing? And all you want to do is go out.
Yeah.
It's freezing cold outside. And it's not an ice bath for Instagram. Let's go in and show this is serious.
Yeah.
You have to swim now for like 100 meters, 50 meters. And you have to swim and come back.
Yeah.
And people are looking at you. One more step and one more step. And something about the freezing water, you're swimming, and from agony and pain and 1,000 thoughts, you're starting to swim, and something just beautiful happens. It's such a strong connection to nature and breathing, and you feel your heart beating like I don't think I ever felt. Maybe first time going into Gaza, but you feel it
Pump.
like a machine, like an engine that is trying to turn on. And you're saying to yourself while you're swimming, this is amazing. This is such a good feeling.
You said you are into Indian spirituality. I wouldn't expect an Israeli American to be into Indian spirituality. First of all, how did you get introduced to it, and what do you practice?
So first of all, you can't grow up in Israel without hearing about India. It's part of the Israeli society. Every 5th soldier who's finishing combat is now going to India for 5 months. It's either South America or India. And you will meet people who come back at the age of 22, 23, after 5 months, 10 months. It's so the opposite of random. Like, it happens a lot.
Regular, normal?
Yeah, my kid is in India now for a year. A year?
What does it mean?
What is about India that gives all these 23, 24 years old men who went through what they went through such a break? And I honestly think that people will say they're escaping. And I'm like, they're not escaping anywhere. They just found a new home, and they found something very special. And an adult doesn't stay in a place that he doesn't feel comfortable in or safe. So I think so many Israelis feel safe in India. They feel that there's an alliance of values, in so many ways. And sometimes you'll have these guys coming back with dreadlocks, and now they're talking about yoga and spirituality. People who before never talked about it. And it's not just about men fighting in a war for 3 years in a young age And now after 5 months, they found the light. But I think India has, I think like Israel, something about the ground and the people here, that people want to come here. Even if there's war, they want to move here. They feel connected in an emotional way to the land. Shabbat here, there's something about this land and the people that even when someone's not Jewish or not Israeli, it's a very special place and with very special people. And same goes to India. It's a very, very special country with a very, very special people. Not everyone's perfect and not everyone's spiritual, not everyone's amazing like here. But I think so many people have come back and learned how to breathe, move, eat, think. India brought them so much peace of mind, calmness. And I think they just know a bit better who they are. Something about the mountains. When my sister came back from there, she couldn't stop. She couldn't stop trying to convince me to go there. You have to go. You have to go. You have to go. You have to go. And many other good friends of mine. You have to go. You have to go. Something about it is. So I read a lot of books. Yeah, I think.
So your sister was the one who actually introduced you to her. Because I remember you briefly told me about, my sister, she's, she loves it. She's obsessed with India. And she always kept telling you, you have to go. And then eventually said you got into some practices I would love to talk about.
So I think yoga, I'm not a big yoga person, but I went to online and I saw an Indian yoga teacher saying something beautiful that has resonate. Is that the word?
It resonated with you?
Yeah, and also stayed with me. It's not about coming to India and going through a special 2 weeks and learning something, how to live. You have to, what is it about India that is in your everyday life now? How do you bring India to your everyday life? And I remember that shocked me because I don't want to go to Sinai now for 10 days or to India and then have a heartache that this beautiful things won't be a part of me. Or how do I even get it without being there? How does a Jew in America feel so connected to Israel, but he's never been here? Okay? So for me, I said, I learned that a lot of this. She spoke about eating when you're sitting on the floor, and eating slowly, walking slowly. I used to walk really, really, really fast. I used to do things fast, move fast, drive fast on the bike, talk fast. What this Indian, I wouldn't say guru because it's just a smart.
Was it a spiritual leader?
It was a few of them together, pain and loneliness and happiness and authenticity. But he talks about tools of life and he talks about the rhythm. And that really got to me. And I think I started focusing on, it's almost like how do you bring parts of Shabbat to the week? I don't keep Shabbat anymore. He talks about how in America, not in a criticizing way, but he says that if nothing is ever enough and everything is new and now and everything is fast, where's the clarity? You need to move slow and to think. And if when someone's talking to you, you have to let him finish and think about what he just said. There has to be a deep element of presence. And I think the Indian culture has such a unique way of being present.
I think Israelis really struggle with that a little bit because they want everything yesterday. I think what Indians bring to the table is like, take a step back. It's okay to breathe. It's okay to do it like 1 second later. It's okay to process. I think that could be very beneficial also for our soldiers because they're so instant and so reactive. Right? I think it's
what the Indian culture gave me by far is roga, calmness. And that calmness has led me to the ripple effects of calmness has led me to so much more in life. So my friends sometimes I'll drive them crazy because we're walking out together in Tel Aviv or on Shabbat or I'm walking with someone and I'm walking slow.
And they're like, what are you doing?
Very slow. And if I'm eating now, even if I'm eating a quick falafel, I'm not walking and eating. I'm done with that stuff. I'm going to sit down. I'm going to try to put my cell phone in my pocket, and for 10 minutes, I'm eating, and I'm going to, and when it made so many things in my life move in such a slower pace, but because of that, I was able to achieve 5 times more. And in a high quality way. So that's writing and talking in podcasts and working and doing sports. And because everything is some things are very fast, swimming, the sports, the bike, but it's in I'm like in
You're able
such
to balance it out.
calm zone. And it's not like I'm all day long in a kumbaya mode. And no, but another example, if I'm now late to the train because of what the Indian culture brought into my life, I'm not running after the train anymore. I'm done with that. Unless someone's in the hospital or it's an emergency, I'm not. And because I'm doing things slow, for coming more earlier, I told you I came here an hour before, which passed like this. I don't want to come here 2 minutes before and not sure and where's the apartment and where's and sit. I want to come here. So I'll say, you know what? I'm going to get the next train. I'm walking now. I'm going to wait online. I'm going to fill up my water. I'll sit. I'll connect my headphones. I'm not doing all those things in 30 seconds. Unless I have to. And it just, I'll always be in gratitude to such a deep, smart, honest culture without lehatif, when you're telling someone that if he's not doing it, he's bad, like in many religions, without preaching.
Preaching or pointing fingers.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're saying to you, you are a spiritual person. The Indian culture, these gurus, these yoga people, they treat you as an equal. No matter what you have in life, how much money, where you came from, you are they'll convince many people that they have a soul and they have a responsibility to nurture that soul, and that spirituality exists in everyone, and materialism is not enough. Therefore, you need to, and they're not saying it to you that God wants you to, and if you're not, you're going to burn in hell. And they're not judging you. So many aspects of religion, including my religion, have, even though I love it and there's a lot to there and it's part of who I am, I think what Indian culture brings to the individual and to the world is you're not 100, what you know is not 100% the truth. There's so much into life in simplicity, in authenticity, in kindness, and chill. Just chill. And good things will happen from that.
I think everything has its own time, so everything will happen in time. But as somebody who is born and raised, I'll give you an interesting insight. Usually when Israelis go to India, they go to places that are not very chaotic. I come from a very chaotic city.
Where?
So everything is fast, like Mumbai. I was born and raised in a city called Thane, which is like the Ramat Gan of India. But the Ramat Gan of, let's say, Mumbai is like Tel Aviv. All right. Okay. So Thane and Mumbai are 30 kilometers apart from each other. In Israel, it's like 5 kilometers apart.
Right.
Okay. So, and everything used to happen in Mumbai. So you're constantly in rush. But at the end of the day, we were born and raised, especially me and my sister, when we would eat food, we were not allowed to use our phones or watch television. Your full attention should be with food, because also when you're watching television, you tend to overeat because you're not chewing, you're inhaling.
Right.
Also, you have to be grateful to people who have put in effort to grow this produce. Could be rice, vegetables, people who have cooked this food, because in India it's very common to have household help. So to be thankful and grateful, and to be able to sit with family and talk, because everybody's on their phones, so you are not spending quality time. I think Shabbat is also very similar, because you keep everything aside, you're with your family, with your loved ones. I think very, very similar to...
Very similar.
My final section of this episode is rapid fire. Yehuda Lapian, are you ready?
Yes.
All right. These are short answers, top of mind, no explanation. Okay? What should families of IDF soldiers never say to them that might offend them or that might take them aback?
We think you have post-trauma.
Okay. What has helped you personally to stay grounded?
My family.
What does normal even mean after war?
Wow, that's good. Enjoying the simple things in life again.
Great answer.
Thank you.
What is harder, fighting in a war or making peace?
Fighting in a war.
Who takes care of soldiers when the headlines don't make it anymore?
Special organizations like Peace of Mind.
What does healing actually feel like?
Waking up in the morning, having a coffee under a tree and saying, I'm in heaven.
I know these are things that are regular for civilians, but for you, it's like, okay.
And the fact that you could enjoy the tree, the coffee, the sun, it's a lot.
Normal people things.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you want people to remember about the ones who served?
That they come from a bloodline of thousands of years of fighting for a cause, for something they believe in, for the truth. And 99% of them would love to go back to their families, to their law firms, to their schools, to teaching, to clean, to driving their truck, to their everyday normal life, because they're just, in the end, good, hardworking people, which makes it even stronger that, for me, that these are the bravest people alive. And I know one day that Netflix will do like they did about Band of Brothers. Maybe it's going to take 100 years, but these are the bravest people in the world who fought evil when everyone else supported them.
I like to say justice delayed, not denied.
Even better.
What does society owe its soldiers after their service in the war?
It's less society, because society needs to continue, and they also went through war. It's the government. They owe them support and care and helping the organizations and the individuals who are helping them. So being committed, fully committed to hearing them and helping them go back to civilian life.
Okay. And your last and final question. What does courage look like on the battlefield?
I saw it a few times, and I think real courage is, you'll be surprised who steps up when most needed, but I think real courage is a combination of two things. Be running into the storm when everyone else is running from it, and knowing every second what can happen in the middle of the storm. The second thing is even more important, that letting fear be, but overcoming it. You don't have to, very few people are fearless also going into combat and fighting, but a lot of them have a lot of fear in their hearts, but they overcome it, each one in their way. And that's real courage.
All right. That brings us to the end of this episode. Yehuda Lapian, this was such a great heart-to-heart conversation. Like I said, before the camera rolled, my job is to bring out the deep layers of our IDF soldiers, because this is something that, unfortunately, our media outlets or whatever channels that try and cover have failed to get deep into these conversations. And I feel like these episodes bring a different side of IDF soldiers that get so much hate. But thank you for serving, by the way. Thank you for keeping us safe. Thank you for serving. Thank you for relentlessly, timelessly working and giving time and energy and your, I don't know, all the wonderful things that I have to say for you. I know it has not been easy, but I want to tell you that I am with you and my community is with you. And hopefully, as the community grows, we'd be able to offer maybe more help in terms of finances or experiences, or collectively anything that we could do for you.
Thank you for having me, Ravital. I want to say something to your followers or to the Indian. I want to say that thank you for supporting us during the war. Thank you for having our backs. For the government, for the people, for the individuals, for people like Ravital, it means a lot. I do think the world could be a beautiful and safer place one day, and I think it depends on you and when you step in and lead, and I'm waiting for that. You have so much to bring to the world, your government, your country, your people, your culture. It's a beautiful, beautiful place, and you do a lot of good to the world. Now you have to lead it. So thank you. Toda. And looking forward, hopefully the next time we'll record a year from now, we'll be talking about better things and happier things.
I hope so too, God willing. If you want to connect with Yehuda, I'm going to add his socials. If you are on other social media platforms, please share it with me so that I can share it with them. He's extremely friendly. He might come across as somebody who's like super hardcore because I told him he doesn't smile much. So he's smiling a lot today, but he's very sweet. Slide into his DMs. If you want to offer help to him and the organization that he works for, great. Also, he's doing a lot of talking engagements. So if you want to book him on Zoom or in person or fly him to the countries of your choice, please reach out to him. In the meantime, stay safe, watch the right content, and I'll see you next time.